Now I'm going to reveal the key to training during the basketball season. I got winter, spring, summer, fall. We talked about this being evaluation. I'll put short for eval. I'll put deficiency. I'll put short for DEF, right? Working on your shortcomings, evaluating what you did during your winter season. Fall, you want to put it all together and get your groove on, right? You want to get really good at it. You want to start to hone your skills, right? Really sharpen. During the season, you don't really have time for new stuff, new material. So this is the maintenance season. You want to maintain your skill set. You want to maintain what you built. What you built from spring to summer, summer to fall, you really want to now have it all come together in your maintenance season. Not a time to introduce a lot of new concepts, right? Because you're getting plays thrown at you, you're getting sets and actions thrown at you from your teams. You're learning scouting reports. You have a lot of things that's going on that you don't want to introduce the latest and greatest new dribble, drive, move, or whatever. That was for the spring and the summer. You had 180 days. You had 270 days to get ready for what was going on. Think about if you'd have put that time in with that. Now you have to keep your coach's playbook in mind and again, make this more of a we thing versus a me thing. Now your skills are in action for your teammates to create advantages to help you all create wins. That's what elite level players do. They work in 4 different quadrants, 4 90-day sections. Winter season, maintenance season. Focus on your coach's playbook, right? Work on the things that's going to show up in the games. Scouting reports. That's how you become consistent. You focus, right? Your mindset, skill set is all in the direction of what's going on with the games you're playing. Then you, in the evaluation, as it's coming up in the spring, you take that body of work, you look at your evaluations, your personal evaluations as a player. You look at what your coaches and parents and coaches have said about you. You put all that together. You start compiling your workouts. You take some time off too, some rest and recovery. You may take a little spring break or something like that. And then right back at it, back in the gym, back on working on your game. Now you got the summer upon you, okay? Yes, you got your AAU team, club team going correct, but you got things you got to get better at. You evaluate it, right? What you inspect, you can expect, because you can get respect from that. And then you're right back into the fall season, which you're grooving. You get your groove on. You're grooving. Worked on a lot of great things. You now are promoted as a basketball player. You came back stronger because now you have that 90-day approach versus just training on one thing or 2 things or random stuff all year round. Let's get right into the #1 way to have fun at every basketball practice. It starts with an open mindset. See, you must be less judgmental when you're going into practice. Because let's face it, a lot of times we go to practice, it's more so seen as a step to get to the game. I totally understand there, been there, done that. But boy, when you have an open mindset, also called a growth mindset, you see that opportunity as a time to grow and a chance to grow. So really, your mentality ends up changing. It's all about your approach. That to me is how you make practice fun again, because you don't judge it. You don't look at it as something that you have to do. You look at it as something you get to do. So you start to look forward to going to practices. See, also you start to look on the bright side of things because you know it's helping you get better. So instead of waiting till the game to try that latest, greatest move that you saw on TV, guess what? You can explore it in practice. So you can also be optimistic about it, because all I'm simply saying is you can believe that things will work out and things will be positive in the end, versus going into it not really looking forward to practicing, right? See, let me also keep it real with you, right? There's something called polyamorous thinking, right? Everything is good. Don't be naive about that. Ultimately, you'll understand that things do get better. That's why you want to be optimistic about it. So you start to look forward for the situation, but you also look for the positives more than you look for the negatives. Again, it's something that you get to do. That to me is a positive, because guess what? You made the team. It wasn't a given. It wasn't a guarantee. So now you don't want to have that obligation outlook to say, well, I have to go to practice. No, you get to go to practice. See, when you become more optimistic, for me, you start asking yourself questions, right? And sometimes when I ask myself questions, I kind of leave them open-ended, right? Did I grow from this practice in this situation, right? Are my relationships stronger at practice with my teammates, right? See, those questions can help you reframe negative thinking about practice to be more optimistic and open about practice. That is the key, right? So now you start to seek out the positive side of practice. You want to pick a positive thought that you can focus on when you're at practice. So when you have a negative one that gets you down, you run back to the positive one. Let's get right into the mindset that allows Steph to shoot lights out every game. And it doesn't involve the ball. Steph believes his next shot is always his best shot. And now, that's the mentality that I teach players. We say, my next shot's my best shot. And the reason he can do this is because he has a lot of support, not just from his teammates, but his head coach. His head coach was a great shooter as well. His head coach played with Michael Jordan. His head coach actually won a world championship, I should say, with Michael Jordan, making the pass. As they were going to key on Michael Jordan, he said, Steve, be ready. Coach Steve Kerr was ready, knocked down the shot. Here's a great story. I remember listening to a soundbite, and Steph Curry wasn't really having a great shooting night. But this is what Coach Steve Kerr said, because he was mic'd up, right? Mike was on him, and it's great sound bites for great feedback, inspiration sometimes, also great teaching points. So he said, hey, Steph, come over here. I want to let you know. And he let Steph know his stat lines. It wasn't really good. You know, you are kind of making this up. You are 5 for 13, you know, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? Man, Coach Steve Kerr said, man, I wish I had the courage and confidence like you to just keep shooting. Now, that's high praise, too. His own head coach was like, man, I wish I had your strong mindset of my next shot's best shot. Not saying he didn't have it as a player, but we all tend to shrink sometimes after we miss one or two. That does not happen with Steph. He misses one, he's going to shoot the next 5 or 6 with confidence. And that story alone just kind of let me know, not only Steph Curry's coach encourages him, that's his fans, his friends, his family, they all support him to really groove that strong mentality. And you can't miss as a player, like we know Steph can't, when you have that kind of support around you. See, this gives him a high margin for error every game that grows with confidence. And then we see him go off making 10 threes at games, 12 threes at a game. Why? Because he has a strong mindset with a lot of people supporting him to say, again, my next shot's my best shot. Play forward. Let's get right into how to use the magic of one word to decrease your fouls. You must have the mindset of not fouling. Fouls will happen, but you want to develop a steadfast mindset that's strong to say, I'm not fouling. And it's all about changing one word. You got to change aggressive to assertive. See, when you become assertive, it allows you to play with more alertness and more discipline under control. Then on offense, you understand now how when you get by your defender, you won't do things that'll get you called for, say, offensive calls. And on defense, you understand how to stay in front of your offensive player. We're not being called for a ton of block calls or player control fouls offensively or blocking fouls impeding your offensive player's progress defensively. You understand how to move your feet. Even when you look at setting screens on offense, you give your defender one step, and versus trying to go directly to them and move, now you call for a player control foul or offense, you actually give them one step. Notice me stepping as if someone is right here. This is them. Instead of me coming directly to my hands where I'm moving, they're moving. No, I want to give them one step. Now what happens also, they have to make a decision. They have to get either below me or above me by my teammate 1 second. That one step buys my teammate 1 second, and that 1 second can help my teammate create up to 8 to 14 feet of space. That's a huge advantage. Now I'm going to tell you the secret I utilize to play with confidence every game. See, first, let's go back to this. Now keep it simple. My focus tool, which was my conscious mind. I made sure to my focus. Again, my acronym, find one course until successful. I made sure I stayed present. I made sure I stayed aware. I wanted to be aware of what was going on at every time I was on the court, every time I came out of the game. I was focused on my teammates, as I said before. How can I help them get better? What was the coach's playbook? What was our coach asking for? There was a play we always ran on defense called 35. It was a run and jump. If you know what I mean by run and jump defensively, it was a jump defense. It was a trap. We called it a number. It was a full court trap. Right after we score, I know he's going to yell 35 to put pressure on people. I understood the coach's playbook. I understood where to be, where my teammates had to be to hold all of us accountable. Right? And then lastly, what happened last play? If we running a play and it's working, running Cobra for us was I set a screen at the top of the key and I get a screen to catch a lob at the rim. If it didn't work, the point guard shot the basketball. If it worked, the point guard pretended to shoot it, he threw me a lob. I went up for a dunk or I laid the ball up. See, that was all about the skill that I built over time, which then was in my storage tool, right? My subconscious mind, my habits, behaviors, right? What that was down here. I was able to recall at a high rate so I can focus, be present and aware to those things I talked about. Not about me, it was about we. Understanding that, utilizing my focus tool, this is another thing I want to give you. See, I focused on making one great play at a time. See, I didn't focus on making 25 plays ahead. I focused on the play I was in. Whether I was on defense, whether I was on offense, it doesn't matter. I focused on what was in front of me, not what was behind me and not what was coming too far ahead of me. Where am I? Am I in the now? See, again, I'm challenging you. Notice I'm not here talking about what you got to do and how you got to game up. No, this is about what we have to do. If you got your focus mind on your teammates and your coaches getting better and improving, watch how your storage tool is going to be able to actively call the stuff we're talking about at a moment's notice. I focused on making one great play at a time. So I trusted my skill and I built my skill in practice so I can focus and play in the games. I'm out of my head and I'm on the court. And with that being said, in high school, you play 4 quarters, right? When I talk about focusing on one great play at a time, I played the quarters as hard as I could, and I focused on the quarters as hard as I could. And when I did that, I let the game take care of itself. I had a certain point total I wanted to actually hit. I wanted to score 4 baskets a quarter. And if I did that, that was 8 points a quarter. You put together the math, 32 points. Look how many points I averaged my senior year. This is how I did it. I focused on making one great play at a time, and I had quarterly goals. I wanted to make sure I scored 4 baskets a quarter. I had to be active to do that. I had to be present to do that. I had to understand the coach's playbook to do that. I had to put my teammates in position also to succeed as well, not being selfish at doing that. So that's how I was able to do that. So if you want to understand how to play with confidence, work on your focus tool and have your focus tool think about your teammates getting better, your coach's playbook, and then what happened last play. Keep that simple. You can only process the 2 to 4 things at a time. You can accept and reject that, right? Your subconscious mind, that's where your habits are stored. You want to be able to in a high active recall rate, recall your habits. If you work on them on purpose, they will become a fixed idea because you overlearn that concept of shooting, dribbling, passing, right, in simplicity ways to be consistent. All of a sudden now, you can focus on making one great play at a time like I did. And all of a sudden, you may become a McDonald's All-American. All of a sudden, you may become a Gatorade Player of the Year. All of a sudden, you may become a great college player. All of a sudden, you may become a 10-year professional like I did. And I want you to do it better than I do because I'm giving you actually the secrets. I don't want to keep the stuff to myself like I said before. Let's get right into the number one thing that all elite basketball players have in common. I want to share a quote with you. And this quote comes from one of my mentors. His name is Coach Gannon Baker. He says, in order to be successful in life, your mind has to arrive there first. See, it's all about how you train your brain. It's the images that you uphold. I didn't say just having your mind, you uphold, you keep. Because the brain has to be in agreement with your body that nothing but elite level is acceptable. That's like an Olympic gold medal winner. The gold is on their mind. Nothing less they're selling for. It all starts with how you perceive and receive that mental imagery. Do you believe you're elite? Can you see yourself being elite? Can you enjoy yourself what you see being elite? That's where it all starts at. Let's get right into the number one conditioning drill you must do first every time. You must build your mental endurance first. Your mind will attack you quicker and be the first to tell you stop. You're tired. It's not worth it. You must learn to condition your mind first so you can learn how to push through to the other side of success. And I want to give you 3 simple applications for this. First is what I call mental agility. You might bend, but you won't break. You're not going to give in to those voices. You need to be flexible with your mind. Be agile, be open. Don't be so tough on yourself. Give yourself grace. Allow yourself room to grow. So mental agility, right? I might bend, but I'm not going to break. I'm not going to give in to that voice. B, balanced. I have to make sure that I stay even keeled. I know when, again, my body feels hot and I need water, but I really need to understand how to push through, I will give myself a simple exercise like, how about I go 25% longer? I got one more lap, how about I do an extra lap because I feel good? See, you want to understand that yet pattern, right? I'm not in the best shape yet, but I'm going to get there, but that's where balance comes in. And then control. Control is focus and concentration, right? It's like a self-control thing. That's discipline. So put together the ABC, and that's how you become mentally tough. Bend, not break with agility. Understand balance will give you, again, an even temperament, and then control with your focus and concentration for self-discipline, because that's how you have what I call deep work mentality. Focus and concentration will help you push through to the other side, and that's what it's all about. Let's keep the momentum going with that bonus I mentioned earlier. We've covered a lot in this video, and I really want to make sure I'm helping you out. So I'd like to offer you a guide that covers all the muscle and basketball principles and in what switch to apply them. This is a powerful guide of best practice tips and skills empowering you to take charge of your game. Just click the link in the description below. You can download the guide I put together as my gift to you. Enjoy it and keep attacking.